Hi everybody, Mary here from A Recreated Life, and today's video, if I can get it centered here, today's video is all about, it's the beginning of November, and I thought I would do some videos on things that we can do before the holidays to make our holidays a little bit easier. So I've labeled today's video as 5 things we can make ahead of time to help make our holiday a little bit better, so we're not so crazy and harried on the day that we're going to have our party. So I just wanted to let you know that my Fly Lady October organization and cleaning is all done. So I'm starting November, and I'm going to go back to my old video, my way of doing videos of posting one every Tuesday and Friday, so you guys can be prepared for that, okay? Also, too, I wanted to let you all know that I now have a P.O. box for A Recreated Life, so I'm going to place it down in the description. It'll be down there from now on in, every video that I do. So if you want to contact me, my information is going to be down there. Okay guys, so the first, what I've kind of done is I labeled the video 5 things that you can cook or bake and freeze ahead of time. But I kind of made 5 categories. So the first category I will say is cookies. So, I mean, if you think about it, you guys, you can make so many different cookies and put them in the freezer. Roll them up, put them in a log, put them in the freezer, and then slice and bake when it comes time to cook them off later on. So, you know, that frees up time for you, because what you do is you're in the kitchen, you make up the cookies, you know, you're making a mess in the kitchen, you get a sink full of dishes, you don't have to deal with cooking. You just put them in a roll, make the dough, roll it up in a log, and put it in your freezer. I'll explain more later on. Now, I've taken notes, so please bear with me while I read my email and read from my notes, okay? So I'm thinking of the types of cookies that you could do, and really, I was really kind of hard-pressed to find a cookie that you couldn't freeze ahead of time. You know, I've got a sister that's done this for years, and, you know, it's a way, she's found it, and it's a way for us all to kind of split it up into a couple different days, or 2 or 3 or 4, however many days. You know, you're doing it in chunks of time. You make the cookies, then you freeze them, then you can take them out one at a time or all together and just do one log at a time, you know. And you know, cookies at holiday time, you can make them for a present. You can make them for a party. You can make them for a cookie swap. You can make them ahead of time to decorate with your kids or grandkids later on. You know, there's all kinds of things you can do with cookies. So they're always a great thing to have, you know, if you have a party, a family party or a party at work or something like that. They're a great gift, not a gift, but a great item to bring, you know, for the buffet. We always like to, in my family, we always like to have like a dessert buffet kind of thing, a dessert table. So anyway, these are great to have. So like I said, I was hard pressed to find one that you couldn't, but my favorites would be sugar cookies, molasses cookies, snickerdoodles, chocolate crinkles, ginger crinkles, filled cookies. And what else was I thinking? There was another one I didn't have written down, and I thought, oh yeah, pinwheel cookies. So even the pinwheel cookies, you could make the whole of them. You know, for me, my pinwheel cookie recipe calls for a batch of white and a batch of chocolate. You put them together, sandwich them together, roll them up, and then slice. Well, get them to the point where you slice. Just stick it in the freezer, and then slice them up later on. I have a really good date-filled cookie that's a pinwheel kind of type thing that my family loves. I also have another filled cookie that I really, really love, and it's a sugar cookie, kind of like a sugar cookie dough, and you cut out rounds of cookies, and you take one round, and in the center of it you put in some jam or pie filling, and then you put another cookie on top, and you kind of crimp all around the edges, and that's the filled cookie that I have. Those tend to fall apart, so I would not make those. I would make the dough part of them in advance and freeze them possibly, and then, but that's as far as I would go. When it came time to cook them, I would thaw them in the fridge, take them out and slice them, and then, you know, and you're going to want to do those right before you want to use them, if that's what you choose to do. You might choose to just do drop cookies, you know, like I said, the sugar cookies and those types of things. Now, for snickerdoodle, well, first of all, let's start with sugar cookies. Sugar cookies are a great one that people like to cut out shapes and decorate with their kids at Christmas time. certainly do that. I mean, you could freeze the log, thaw it completely in the refrigerator. I would not thaw any of these, by the way, on the countertop. Don't do that because there's egg in some of these, and I wouldn't want to have anything dangerous. You know, you don't want it to be, you want it to be safe. So thaw them a couple days ahead of time in the refrigerator. And so for sugar cookies, I would certainly do that. Thaw them in the fridge and then roll them out again and cut your shapes out, and then you can decorate. For snickerdoodles, you roll those in cinnamon sugar. So I would still make them, freeze them in a log, put them in the fridge. When you get them thawed out, slice them, roll them in a ball, then roll them in the cinnamon sugar and then bake them. For ginger crinkles, those are rolled in sugar. So I would do the same thing. Freeze them in the log, slice them, roll them in a ball, and then you're good to go. For chocolate crinkles, you roll those in confectioner sugar. Again, I do the exact same thing. Freeze them in a log, slice them, roll them in a ball, and then roll them in the powdered sugar. Then bake them off. That's how I would do. That's how I would do it and have done it in the past. What you do is you make your cookie dough. You form it into a log, wrap it in cling wrap. Wrap it in cling wrap or wax paper or something like that, and then wrap the outside of them with tin foil. On the tin foil, write what it is and the date, put it in your freezer. I mean, this is November. We could start doing it now, you guys. It certainly isn't too soon to start doing our cookies. So anyway, that's how you do it. And then when it comes time to thaw them, like I said, please don't put them on the counter. Please thaw them a couple days. Give it plenty of time. Keep them in the fridge where it's safe, and then slice and bake. I also too, usually cookies are baked at like 350 for 8 to 12 minutes, but you can gauge it. I mean, go by your recipe, whatever your recipe says, but that's kind of the basic, general rule. Now, the interesting thing about this is, you guys, I was talking to my sister about doing this video and making the cookies ahead of time. And I am still following the Fly Lady. I still get her emails and so on and so forth. And she is doing her holiday journal, her holiday control journal. She's doing it, and every day she's sending us a video. Well, no sooner did I make out my video thing, I got a email from her talking about one of her people that does this. She does the slice and bake thing, and I want to read the email to you. This is what she says. Dearest Fly Lady, I've been following your emails and videos for some time now. This testimonial has to do with your concept of a little time spent today saves a whole lot of time later. See that, guys? My pleasure time is almost always spent in the kitchen. I love to cook and especially to bake. I used to love baking during the holiday season. In the past, before I've worked full-time, I had to be in the kitchen all day, but now with 12-hour shifts at the hospital and my back, I can't spend all day in there anymore. I used to bake 10 to 15 varieties of cookies, you guys, that's huge, for my family, but now I'm an empty nester. I still like to make cookies, but my figure cannot handle the 3 dozen yields anymore. And we can do this, guys, at other times of year. And she goes on to say, the other day I decided to bake a batch of chocolate chip cookies. I scooped out a dozen, then thought, why not shape a log and freeze the dough for later? So I did. A few weeks later, I pulled out the frozen dough and sliced off a few cookies and baked them. They were every bit as good as the fresh batch. So there you go, guys. You're hearing it not just from me. A few weeks later, I did the same thing with my peanut butter cookies. So there's another one, peanut butter cookies, guys. I rolled the balls, dipped them in sugar, flattened them with a fork, and froze the cookies on a wax paper. There's another way of doing it. You can actually form the cookie, put it on your cookie sheet, freeze them in the already formed, and then put them in a baggie, a Ziploc baggie. And then all you gotta do is pull them out and cook them. You can do them one at a time that way if you want to. I can start all my holiday cookie recipe. Okay, well, no, I'm sorry, I missed a part. Flattened them with a fork and froze the cookies on wax paper on the cookie sheet. Then put them in a Ziploc bag. Today I'm doing snickerdoodles. There you go, guys, snickerdoodles. Then a revelation hit me, she says. I can start all my holiday cookie recipes now, storing each unbaked batch in a log or as a ball or a shaped cookie. In the past, I would be in the kitchen all day, big pile of dirty bowls and spoons and measuring utensils. I'd be complaining by the end about my back hurting and not wanting to shine my sink because it was full of dirty dishes and I was too tired and in too much pain to clean them. This year is going to be different. I will not be a martyr as I have been in the past. There you go, guys, no martyrdom. I will make one batch of unbaked cookies a week on my plan and play day, on my plan and play day, she says. All the batches are being labeled as I go. I'm cleaning as I go, and the mess is minimal because I'm only doing one recipe at a time. When I'm ready to put my cookie boxes together for my out-of-town kiddos, I will take the frozen cookies out and bake them. Isn't that great? If you're going to travel too, I mean, I say travel, like my son's an hour and a half away. If I'm going to do something like that, I might even want to bring the frozen cookies with me and, bake them off while I'm there with my grandkids. That's an option. I won't have to worry about burning any while I'm trying to juggle making another batch of dough. I don't know about you guys, but I do that every single time I make cookies. I burn the last batch. Never fails. So this little bit of time I'm spending each week is saving me a whole day of time later. And I won't have to have the back pain to deal with either. Isn't that great, you guys? She found a way to do it. I'm flying high, and for the first time in a long time, I'm excited about the holidays. I may even work on a few more intricate recipes because I'll have the time to give them the attention they need. There you go, guys. So it's not just me. It's Fly Lady and her readers, too. They've tried it, and it works. So keep that in mind, guys. So number 1, cookies. Number 2, I decided to make that my kind of like veggie. All the veggies. Think about the veggies that you have at holiday time and any casseroles or anything you make with veggies for your holiday dinner or for gifts. Now, the first one that comes to mind for me is squash. Last year, I had squash in my garden. I think I might have told you guys or either did a video on it. I'm not really sure. But I had squash in my garden, and they last quite a while, but these did not. I had some that I was able to keep a while, but some of them I had to use right away. They were getting fruit flies bad. Squash bugs and fruit flies were, they go bad. So I had to cook them up. So that was not a problem. I sliced them in half, took the seeds out, and I baked them in the oven. And then I scooped them out of the shell, put them in a dish, and I added in the butter and the seasonings, just salt and pepper. That's how I eat my squash. So just butter, salt, and pepper, and then I put them in baggies in the freezer. Well, if you don't think that was good throughout the year, this year, guys, it was so good. When you have a chicken meal throughout the winter, or even in summer, whenever you do, grab that squash and have it. It was just like the day you baked it. It was so good. It didn't get watery. It didn't get dry. It was nothing. It was delicious. So squash, that's my first one. Butternut or buttercup. Buttercup is what I had, but you can do it with any squash, really. I've done it with spaghetti squash too. Sweet potato, any kind of sweet potato. I know a lot of people have sweet potato casserole at the holiday time. And I'm not sure if that calls for almost make it souffle, like egg white that you whip up and make it fluffy. I'm not sure if it calls for that because that's not really a big thing that my family likes. But I know it's a big popular thing at holiday time. If it called for the egg whites to whip up like that, I probably wouldn't do it and freeze it because I don't think that would puff once you took it out of the freezer and put it. But if it doesn't call for that, hey, go ahead and make it up, stick it in your freezer. Okay, let's see. Another thing with vegetables, getting them ready for the holidays is what this video is all about. So think about it. I've talked before in many of my videos about how I have a garden and I do canning and pickling for gifts for Christmas time. I've mentioned that to you guys. I have a son that loves zucchini relish. Hey, who doesn't have a ton of zucchini in the summer? If you have a garden and you grow zucchini, you're overwhelmed with zucchini. Make zucchini relish and give it as presents. Any kind of pickle, sweet pickle, bread and butter pickles, dill pickles. I love those dill pickles. Green beans too, dilly beans. I have a lot of family members that love dilly beans. So whether it's a sour pickle or a sweet pickle, make those and give it as a present. And also pickled beets in our family is a big one. People love pickled beets. Anything pickled, whatever your family loves, make that for Christmas. And if you pick somebody's name, if you pick names in your family like we do, if we have a family member that we know loves a certain kind of pickle, we make those for them at Christmas and they love them. Absolutely love them. Jams and jellies is another thing. I did this category for this one thing. There's something that we make in our family, and I don't know if any of you guys have had it before, but if you haven't, you've got to try it. It's delicious and so easy. You take hot pepper jelly, either made with jalapenos or whatever hot pepper you make hot pepper jelly with. Buy a block of cream cheese, and all you do is pour the jelly over the cream cheese, and you put it on crackers. And boy, you guys, is it delicious. It's a fantastic holiday, like a little appetizer thing to have on your holiday table. It's really good. We love it in our family, and that's another thing you can make in the summer. When you grow your green peppers, grow a plant, put a plant or two of hot peppers, and jalapenos or whatever hot pepper. I grow the green chilies. I like the green chili ones, like the New Mexico ones. And just make up your hot pepper jelly in the summer, and it can keep. It certainly can keep until Christmas, and that's what my sister did last year. She wanted to make hot pepper jelly with that cream cheese and on crackers for her party, and we have the party at her house. So she did her hot pepper jelly in the summer. It was great, you guys. It's delicious. You've got to try it. Okay, what else? Okay, that was category 2, which was veggies. Category 3 is breads and cakes and rolls and things like that. Any kind of quick bread. Now, a lot of times people have quick breads on a platter for holiday celebrations and things like that. So quick breads, that would be like pumpkin bread or zucchini bread or banana nut bread, any types of those quick breads, or muffins even. I've made pumpkin muffins or squash muffins. I interchange squash and pumpkin all the time, you guys, so it doesn't matter to me. So anyway, quick breads, yeah, so make those up and put them in the freezer. I actually have a loaf of zucchini bread in my freezer right now. My recipe for zucchini bread calls for, it makes 2 loaves of zucchini bread. I eat one and keep it out and eat it, and I put the other one in the freezer all the time. Those freeze really well. Any of those that I just mentioned, zucchini, banana, or pumpkin, they're very moist, and they keep very well in the freezer. Now, the second thing in this was rolls. I have a certain particular roll that I like to make. It's butterhorns. At holiday time, I have it in my recipe book that I'm going to have for sale pretty soon, you guys. So keep your eyes peeled. So they're rolls, and it does kind of change the texture a little bit. So if you have dinner rolls or anything like that, it's really your call. I prefer to make them like close to the time, the day before I'm going to eat them. I'm going to take them to our party. However, if I am severely pressed for time and I have time, 2-3 weeks ahead of time, I would do it. I would put them in the freezer and bring them that day. And another thing is cake. If you have cakes, I kind of say that hesitantly, but I'm telling you, I've frozen cakes before and eaten them way later, and they were just as moist and good as the day I made them. So that is really your call. Like I said, cakes I wouldn't hesitate. Quick breads I wouldn't hesitate. Rolls, I kind of go by what my timing is for that year. Okay, the fourth category, you guys, is meat. Any type of meat that you cook for the holidays, you can cook ahead of time and freeze. Now, my one caveat with the meat is I would freeze it with the juices, the meat juices, or make a gravy of some kind and freeze it with that juice. You don't want it to get dry. You don't want it to be dried out. So any kind of meat, turkey, chicken, beef, pork. If you want to make up a meatloaf, some people have Italian meals at Christmas time, so spaghetti sauce. I make that up. I always make a batch of spaghetti sauce in my crock pot, and I'm one person, so I certainly can't eat it all at once. I always put it in little individual servings in the freezer, and it freezes really well. So anything like that, any meat, you guys, you can make ahead of time and freeze, and it'll save you a ton of time. Think about it. Turkey, turkey takes all day to cook, so if you can do it ahead of time, great. And another thing I've talked about many times, I've mentioned freezing it with the juices. I make my own stock, so if you needed to, you take out a quart of your stock or a little pint of your stock out of the freezer. Have it ready for when you do make up your turkey or chicken or whatever meat you have, and put some over the meat before you freeze it, just so it doesn't get dry. One thing I would say is I have frozen gravy before, just as an experiment, and it did not come out well. So I would not freeze gravy ahead of time. It's pretty quick. If you buy the gravy mixes, it's pretty quick to make right at the day of your meal. So I would not make gravy ahead of time. Stuffing, I probably would do that. I've never done it, but I wouldn't hesitate to do it. I mean, it's all, what's in it? It's bread and spices. You mix it up with stock or water, something like that. There's really not much to it, so I would think that could freeze very well. The last category is kind of like a miscellaneous category. I've got a bunch of things in this one and I want to go over them. First thing that I have in my miscellaneous category, number 5, would be pie filling. Any kind of pie filling that you're gonna, for pies you're gonna make during the holidays. Pumpkin pie, my pumpkin pie recipe calls for milk. And I don't know how that would freeze, but you can certainly try it. If nothing else, you've got frozen pumpkin. I mean, like I said, I've grown pumpkins in my garden before. In the summertime, you bake them off, scoop them out of the shell, put them in quart baggies in your freezer, and, do it that way. So if nothing else, you've got the frozen pumpkin. And then pumpkin pie is pretty quick to whip up. So pumpkin apple. Apple's a big one. I know a lot of people that have apple trees and they're overrun with apples in the fall. What are they going to do with them? They make all applesauce, apple butter, make up some pie filling. Keep it in your freezer. That's a great, you just take out your baggie of pie filling or can it. Canned pie filling. I've seen people make their own and that's a big time saver when it comes for time for making that apple pie. So pumpkin, apple, any kind of berry, blueberry, raspberry, mixed berry, any kind of a berry pie, even mincemeat. All that filling can be done. We have something here in Maine called touche pie. It's a French thing, and it's a meat pie. And it's made with ground pork and ground beef. There's all kinds of different recipes. And you can certainly make that ahead of time and freeze that now. All that being said, I've tried freezing pie crust before and it did not come out for me. Now I don't know what I did or if I did something wrong, but I didn't like it. I couldn't even work with it. I had to throw it away. It was that bad. Now I must have done something wrong because I have a sister, one of my other sisters she has a really great touche pie recipe and we all love her touche pie in our family. And she makes one for each one of us every Christmas and she freezes them. In the pie crust, whole 9 yards. She makes the pie crust and she puts the pie filling in it, but she doesn't bake them. She freezes them just like that and with a note on the outside of it, bake 350 for however many minutes. She bakes them makes them up ahead of time and gives us each our pie when we have our family party and it's frozen. So we take it home and either keep it in the freezer till a better time when we want to have it, or we can bake it up right, let it thaw and then bake it. I've done it both ways. So anyway, she does it. I'm going to have to ask her this year how she does it to make her pie crust come out good because it's delicious. Her pie crust is not bad. So I must have done something wrong because Martha Stewart also, years ago I watched a Martha Stewart show where she talked about making pie crust and freezing it. And what she did, I thought was very clever. She made a pie crust recipe, rolled it out into the size pie, size pie that she wanted. Put it between 2 sheets of cling wrap, put it in a pizza box, which I thought, those big pizza boxes, like the 14-inch pizza box that you get from your area, your local pizzeria, and freeze it that way. You can stack quite a few pie crusts in that pizza box. That's how she did it. And her suggestions were when you take it out to thaw it in the cling wrap. Don't take it out of the cling wrap. Now, I've never done that, but it must work. I mean, it's Martha Stewart, and my sister does it, so it works, you guys. So I would definitely give that a consideration. If you're wondering about it, I've done this before, too. If you're wondering whether it will work or not, experiment. Now's the beginning of November. Make some for your family and then freeze it before you cook it and see if it works. That's the only thing I can say. The next thing in my miscellaneous category is spiced nuts. A lot of times people, for appetizers or a little snacky thing, they have nuts. They make up spiced nuts, and there's a gajillion recipes out there. You can make a sweet one, a savory one. You can do a hot, spicy one. I always keep my nuts in the freezer anyway, so that would certainly work. Party mix, Chex Party Mix. I make it up and put it in the freezer all the time. It freezes well, it doesn't get soggy, it doesn't dry out. It's perfect, it stays very well. That can definitely be done. Any kind of a bar, like I have a peanut butter and jelly bar that I make, and it's got jelly or jam in the middle of it. I wouldn't hesitate to do that. All it's made is peanut butter, jam, you know, oats, stuff like that. And go along that line of thinking, apple crisp, any kind of apple crisp. A date bar, banana bread, banana bars, any kind of a bar. They tend to be quite moist, and I wouldn't hesitate to freeze those. So if that's what you guys have. And apple crisp, that was the last thing on my list. So you guys, I hope this gives you great ideas and saves you some time during holiday time. You know, I just did that Fly Lady 30 days, 31 days of our Fly Lady cleaning and organizing so that we can have peace at our holiday time. Don't let cooking get the best of you. We want to keep that peace, and so yeah, do whatever you can make ahead of time. Put your thinking cap on. Get on to the Fly Lady website and check out her holiday control journal. It's really pretty good. Like I said, this one came up about the cookies, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do a video on that one. So I already planned on doing my video when that came up. So it just kind of confirmed, yes, it can be done, and yes, it's a good idea. So anyway, you guys, I hope this helps. I hope you liked it. You know, comment below. Let me know what you guys make ahead of time. I know that there are people from other countries and other parts of my country that, you know, watch this video, and I know that everybody's holiday times are very different meals, very regional cooking. Let me know what you guys make. I would love to know what you guys make ahead to save you guys lots of time. Okay guys, let's see, this is Friday, so I'll see you next Tuesday. Don't forget, I'm going to have another holiday tip on what we can do to make our holidays better, more frugal, save us time, keep our peace. Okay, you guys, thanks for watching today, and I will see you all next time. Bye.